back to the tribe.
Welcome back, everyone.
Thank you so much for subscribing to our channel. We truly appreciate it.
Yes, we do.
Now, before we get started, we're actually going to start with the affirmation of the day.
Yes, we are. Today's affirmation of the day is, I am my favorite person.
I am my favorite person.
Yes, and we repeat this throughout the day to reprogram the subconscious mind. Let's go.
Okay, so, topic.
Topic.
Did you want to take the lead on this?
Topic of today is the changes in the world and what the world's going through. Essentially, we can say that what the world's going through. I can take the lead to start it off, I guess. I always come from a spiritual perspective when it comes to these things, but we're going to get a little more grounded and get a little more earthly with it and talk about what's happening in the world, politics, and what have you. Now, today is the 4/4 portal. Today is the 4th of April. And what's so interesting about today in the past couple of 4 days is that there's been tremendous change in the political scene and the economic scene, the whole 9 yards. With Trump and putting the tariffs, basically taxing the world. We're going to tax the world is basically what Trump is saying, which is throwing things in free fall. And I was actually just talking about this on my live earlier with my people, basically saying like, hey, look, there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be happening. And we already kind of prophesied these times. Me and he's only talked about this before, about how economically things are going to change, how money's changing, inflation, and how what we could do in this type of environment, right? Especially we talked about how we need to rely on ourselves, so self-reliance, and not really focus on these jobs and things like that, and start to make ends meet with our talents and leaning on our talents and things like that. But specifically, these tariffs and how it's causing the world to really reorganize almost financially, economically, and a lot of people are panicking. And that's the last thing we want to do is panic in these times. These times are very transformative, and they are an opportunity. They're an opportunity for you to grow. They're an opportunity for you to invest whatever you may have to invest so that you can prosper. Because what they say is when there's blood in the streets, this is a investing phrase, when there's blood in the streets is when the money's made. So when you see red days in crypto or stocks and things like that, this is the time where you make money. But even beyond that, if you look at people's mentalities, people's stress level is very, very high. It's not just in America, like this is around the world. People are really going through it because these changes, they have no frame of reference of why these changes are happening. Obviously, we know that these things have been happening on purpose. The governments of the world have been crashing the fiat systems, so the dollar systems, and putting us in a state of fear and panic. We don't really know what to do, but some of us do.
No, yeah, I mean, agreed with the tariffs that's been implemented, and with Trump being in power and now taxing people, people who've been getting a free ride for decades now, I'm kind of all for it. With us, with us as Americans, it's important just to prepare yourself. I mean, we knew that this day was coming. We've all went through the recession.
Thank you. That's like you talking about 08?
Yeah, 08. And I was young then, but my mom went through it. So it's like, we all went through the Great Recession, and we had to deal with and understand how to maneuver money and maneuver certain situations in order for us to be well off, So again, for us to be in this position, and Trump really taking the lead and saying, hey, I'm tired of having these countries kind of bully us, and this is our way of putting our foot down. So yeah, when it comes to the money aspect, the best thing to do is tap into your talents. That's something that we pride ourselves on, and we've been saying for the past couple of months, just really lean in on your talents and look at other platforms and look at other resources and look at other places where you don't necessarily have to depend on a corporation who can literally let you go at any moment. So, really taking this time to just tap into yourself and lean into family, lean into friends, lean into others. If you're really going through a situation and you really need help as of right now, like, lean on those that you know will help and support you, and try to make sure that you're in the best position possible. We see time and time again, especially with where we are, people out here, they help each other. They help their neighbors. So, you know, it's really inspiring to see, because it's like, wow, like, here's a community-based people who help each other out, especially when they are in time of need. So that is definitely something, you know, a takeaway that we will be definitely taking with us.
Yeah. Another thing is in regards to the state of the world and just the state of people just in general, it's like the energy harvesting is huge now. So I think it's a huge topic that we can touch on that, really boost the energy, because it's everywhere. It's not just like with the governments. We know that the governments and media outlets, they energy harvest all the time. They're looking for sources of energy, because when they have you look or feel, they get fueled. It's no different than, like, I give the example of when you're hiding behind the door before somebody comes in and then they walk in and you scare them, like, and when you scare them, that energy exchange is like, I got fueled by it, or someone's secretly hating on you and wishing on your downfall, and then when you finally do fall, they feel a sense of happiness. And that's just a different example, but I'm speaking more in terms of like social media and the videos people put out and the desperation to get other people's attention. And I guess it all coincides with what we were talking about, trying to make other sources of income a reality, but they're using extreme means to get attention and views, when I think that it should be the absolute opposite of it. You should be genuine and authentic and not have to go crazy with what you're doing to get views, right?
Right, yeah. That clickbait is something serious. And, you know, we've seen just people in our reality, people from arm's length or distance, or celebrities or influencers and stuff of that sort. We've seen some extremes on videos and content and things of what they're saying. It's a lot of garbage. So you have to, again, use discernment, so then that way you're not necessarily filtering in some of what this garbage that people are professing and saying. And we live in such a powerful time where you manifest. So Steve and I, we had a conversation earlier about music. Steve's music is incredible. He's an incredible artist. He's a lyricist. He's someone that actually pins and doesn't, you know, look around for other people to, you know, to write for him or anything like that. Like, he's someone who actually studies music. He studies rap. He studies hip hop. So we were talking about, you know, really in messaging. You know, the messaging that he's putting in, and the spirituality, and just being able to connect and you know, connect to ourselves. And, you know, it's just something that is incredible. And
it's missing
within this society. And we see, you know, time and time again, we have people who come on and, you know, they have all types of talking about nothing. Like, and it's gotten so vulgar and so perverted, where it's hard to decipher. So it's no different from social media. Like, you have people on there that is, you know, that has a very nice, like, role model kind of esque attitude and platform, and then you have that is very risque and very explicit and very just raunchy. So, you know,
the desperation is insane.
The desperation is crazy.
Yeah, the desperation is insane. Before we take a break, the desperation for attention is so obvious, but it also gives me the understanding of, like, okay, this whole thing, this whole reality is about attention. It's about energy. It's about where you're putting your eyes, and you can see that when it comes to the mainstream media. You can see, because it was a time where they had a monopoly on attention, because everybody was watching television, and to get on television, you had to go through certain outlets. Now the new television is your laptop, it's your phone, and anybody can have their own television show, right? Like us, it's anybody can do it. So, but what are you giving, and what are you saying? Now, when it comes to the news outlets, now they have to follow us. They have to, where we go is where they go. So we stopped watching TV. Now we're on our phones. Now CNN has a TikTok. Now they have to follow where the attention is. Where are they looking? All right, they're looking here. Let's get them here. Everything is spiritual, everything is energy, and everything is attention harvesting. Even what we're doing. But what we're giving you something beyond just grabbing your attention. You're going to learn something from each and every time you watch one of our videos. You're going to get something from it, and that's what distinguishes us from the normal creator.
Right. Blame it on Kanye.
Yeah, blame it on Kanye. Ha ha ha.
Segue. Okay, so the word of the day is confutation.
Confutation.
Confutation basically means proof that something is wrong.
Proof that something's wrong.
Confutation. Sounds like what's going on today in the world. Would you like to do some tips?
Yeah. The chaotic energy of the news was confutation of my suspected thoughts.
Like that. Okay, so to get back into the topic, it's, you know, with energy harvesting, it's always a weird one because it's like you can either go positive or negative.
Right.
And, you know, prior to going to our break, you know, I said blame it on Kanye. We obviously, that Kanye has been in the news and he's been making his rounds and stuff like that, and he's been known to do clickbait, outrageous tactics. That's how he was able to get people to really, because he's pushing the envelope. He's not necessarily following the lines. Exactly. So it's a certain blurred line. However, you know, I definitely agree, but there's a way that you do it. You have to be tasteful and not so raw and raunchy about it. That's one of those, like, you have to be tasteful about it, depending on how you do it and your messaging. So again, when it comes to energy harvesting, it's important, as I said before, to use discernment, to know what you allow into your spiritual, your portal, yourself, your inner self, your universe, and those and information that is misinformation or that is not necessarily something that is going to allow you to grow is something that should obviously not be something that you pay attention to.
Yeah, for sure. I agree 100%. I mean, on the Kanye topic, I think that we're at a time within the matrix that we're realizing that nothing really is as it seems. And the in the line energy has been what's been holding us back. I feel like a lot of the times we want things to be perfect, and that ends up making us not do anything. That's just a small example of the higher picture, right? But I think that what Kanye is doing, what a lot of people are doing, they're not necessarily in the raunchy sense, but in the sense of like, oh, I can't say this, but you can do this. Oh no, I'm going to say this, because it's cracking the matrix open. It's cracking our minds open. Like, whoa, like, let's actually think about what's going on here. Let's actually think about the nuances of the situation beyond what's just being displayed to us every single day, right? So even beyond what Kanye's doing, of course, people think he's mentally ill. I don't think so. I think that he's just thinking from a higher dimension, meaning like, I'm not going to think like y'all. This is the reason why we got here. This is the reason why we're here. Clearly, the way we've been thinking from the beginning of humankind to now, and look at where we're at. If we don't like the way that life is, it's because as a result of what we've been thinking and how we've been in these boxes. So he's like, I'm getting out of these boxes. I'm going to do this, do that, do that. So I kind of get what Kanye is at. The average mind would think I'm crazy when they hear, like, if you guys listen to my live, like average people, they'd be like, this guy's bugging. It's because of the dimension that I'm thinking from. I'm thinking from a different, as opposed to separation, I think of the whole picture and how we're connected to one another. So that's the way that I pull in energy, and people want to be around it and listen to it, you know what I mean? So I get it, but I also get what Zoni's saying, because people get triggered, but I think that's why he's doing it, because it's like, when you get triggered, you have to uncover why you got triggered. Or you could just blame it on Kanye. I'm triggered by Kanye, so it must be Kanye. No, you're triggered because there's something in you that's triggered, right? So it's never the outer world, it's always in you.
Right.
So that was...
That's a great perspective. You know, it's something that, again, me being an average-minded person, like, I would think, he's crazy, he's talking about this, he's talking about that, that's disruptive, that's, you know, not coming from a place of love, this, that, and third, but to hear it from a different perspective and level of the mind, you know, you have to be really tapped into your higher consciousness in order for you to understand, and overstand what is being directed at you. Now, words are just words. We use emphasis, we use our voices, we use energy behind those words for it to become something that is solid. But if you understand how to, and just kind of take it for what it is,
you become magical. We are all magical beings, and this is why I say, like, when it comes to energy harvesting, the state of the world, it's not really about the world, it's how you react. If you react, this is why the reason why there's such thing as energy harvesting is because they know that if they say something, do something, or create an event, you'll react to it. But once we stop reacting,
repost.
Even just a word, like I'll be reading stuff on Twitter, and then I'll find myself, I'm about to react, and I'm like, wait, this is just somebody's words. But really quickly, it was like, before we had our phones, and the world was the way that the world is the way that it is now, to get other people's perspectives, you had to talk to them. Like now the collective's mind is on a phone, so you hear everybody from around the world, not just America. The mind of human beings is on the phone. That's why you feel so overwhelmed, but that's why you also can't stop scrolling, because you're seeing so many different perspectives and you're stuck in it. That's why I say, put the phone down and get within yourself for a little while, so you can really feel how you feel beyond what the world is projected to you.
Right, that's pretty interesting that you could tap into different worlds. Yeah. You could be in one world and then you could be in a different world. Oh, let me look at news about Europe, or let me look at news about Africa, or let me look at news about, this continent or place. So it's really interesting that we have access through our phones and the internet. You're literally entering into a net, a web, where you are able to see different pockets of media.
Right.
And because you're able to see different pockets of media, no different from the Matrix and, Morphosis, how he was explaining, Morpheus, sorry, my gosh. Oh, Lord. So, but no different from him, and him explaining, like, listen, like, it's all within our mind. Once you tap outside of your mind, it's all an illusion. So it's like the programming starts within. And when you know how to maneuver and you know what is going to work for you and what's not going to work for you, that's when you're going to have the ability to really use your spiritual sword to no longer be in those moments. So
agreed.
Okay, so now we're going to get into the Arabic phrase of the day.
Yes, the Arabic phrase of the day is ewa.
Ewa.
Which is essentially yes.
Ewa. Yes.
Ewa.
Ewa. It's cute. Ewa. So cute. Yeah, final thoughts. Especially with today, just all of what's going on in the world, even with, we heard news today about TikTok being potentially banned. I'm like, people are bored. Okay, you hear me?
It's not enough energy. They're like, where can I get it?
Where can I get it? People are bored. So you gotta also think about it like that. Like, they get paid for views. We get paid for views, But it's like, okay, what is the substance that I'm putting behind? What am I learning? Why am I tapped in? Why do I like their frequency? Or why do I like how they are? So again, like, you can definitely create and make your own magic, but if you're doing it from a place where you're bored and your intention isn't necessarily the best, it could be, again, you are what you manifest. So whatever you put into the internet, the multimedia world, the world, globally, whatever you put out there is what's going to manifest to you 10 times fold. So again, if you put something out, understand the intent, the energy, the feeling, the emotion, everything that you put into whatever it is that you actually push out is going to manifest. So if you're coming from a place of anger and hate and jealousy and just a nasty type of timing, all of those things is going to come to you 10 times fold, because again, it's what you are putting out and projecting into the universe. We are all projectors. So when you project, and obviously we're all mirrors too, But when you project and when you're putting out certain emotions and certain energy, that is what you are going to receive. So with this energy harvesting, just look at it as some people are bored, okay? Some people are bored. And quickly, I was on I want to say 2 or 3 years ago, I was on a podcast. I'm pretty ashamed to say it now. The Fresh and Fit podcast. Now, I came on because at that time I was relating to what they were saying. They had some valid points, and I wanted to go on to say my perspective and this, that, and third. After seeing the way that this person has spiraled out, I'm not going to name his name because he's not relevant. The way that he spiraled out and his focus now becoming more on race and becoming on tearing down and being nasty and vulgar with how he's trying to depict a culture. Shame on you. But also to, it goes back to people are just energy harvesting. So again, if I can get you riled up and I can make money off of you by saying these nasty things and getting a rise out of you, I won at the end of the day. But what that person doesn't understand is you also manifest all of those nasty things as well. So you may be in a place of highness right now, but eventually you're going to come to a place of lowness. And when you're at your lowest, you have to now look back and reflect on all the negative stuff and all of the negative information that you were putting out. So just wanted to say that because that is a form or an example of someone that is energy harvesting.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, there's going to come a point in time where we have to reflect on ourselves, what we've done, what we put out to reality. And when you reflect on that, are you going to be happy with it? And there is a world that extends beyond the physical reality. That's what we're experiencing life as humans, the earth and the sun and this universe. But there is something that extends beyond this. It's something that you need to be focused on because this particular reality is not going to last. And we're seeing that it's crumbling right before our eyes. So there is a spiritual tone, a spiritual entity, energy that is taking over the planet. And if you can't see it, I think everybody sees it in one way or another. But there's going to come a point in time where you have to face yourself. Right? Yeah. You're going to have to face yourself. And then it's really all about how you feel about what that mirror is showing you, right? I just wanted to, in my personal reality, put out into reality something that makes sense for my soul, not just makes sense for my body, my ego, or whatever, I want to be the big man. And we all have that moment. We all have that energy. We want to be the greatest, but you can be the greatest without comparing yourself to others. You could be the greatest just period in yourself. I'm not the greatest in comparison to you. I'm just the greatest. You know what I'm saying? So as far as energy harvesting goes, we already know what it is. Keep your poise, keep your brilliance within you. Don't get pulled, right? Everybody's projecting energy to see if they can pull others' energies in. So if you could just chill and just be in your peace, be in your cool. This is not just in regards to other citizens, but the global political unit, the media, all that. It's all about your life force, your energy. Hold it in and become the best version of yourself.
Yes, and it's no competition. It's only you.
It's only you.
Okay, so thank you again, guys, for subscribing to our channel. We truly appreciate it. Definitely subscribe again, comment,
like it,
repost. If you have opinions, if you have rebuttals, definitely put it down below. We love feedback. And until next time, stay tuned.